Hey, you're on with Daniel and Alex from corporate. I wasn't actually rotating the camera. I don't know how to rotate the camera.
Whoa.
Oh, yeah.
Special guest.
Playing that drum set of his. I'm just going to shut the door.
All right, Mary, can you play Mary Had a Little Lamb?
I think you can.
Right.
Dan, recording, is this the start of the podcast?
This is the start of the podcast.
I'm going to have to do a really clunky, transition between, my computer and my phone, so. Hey, everybody, welcome back to the podcast. So good if you guys could join. My name is, of course, Tanner Debates, your host. I'm joined by someone else.
And someone else.
Someone else can introduce themselves if they want to. They also, it's kind of their prerogative if they want to introduce themselves.
Yeah, of course. My name is Alex Four. I've been on this podcast a few times before. With me is Mr.
No, we're not doing this.
Daniel. He's a longtime friend of the show, and he's been a guest quite a few times. So he's familiar with how things are. He knows how well-oiled of a machine we have here. What we got going?
Of course. I wish we could have a machine. Instead it's whatever this is.
Oh, man.
What do you mean, whatever
Tanner's
this
house.
is your idea? This is straight out of the genius mind of David Silverstein.
I thought you were the host. I don't understand.
Well, you could be the producer. It's and the producer's the one who, produces a little bit, so you produce the show.
I see.
So, Daniel, why don't you kick us off and talk about kind of how was your week at the power plant and, that awful training regimen you're having to go through.
I'm not with training. That was because the last time we talked was during training. Yeah, training's done.
Oh, my God.
Back doing your normal duties of being a night watchman, night at the museum style at the power plant?
Oh, I thought you were training to be an actual nuclear reactor. Oh.
Yeah.
Or is that the next phase?
It's the next one. I am on days right now, obviously. Otherwise, how would we be recording this podcast in the evening? Tanner, explain.
So Daniel works both a day and a night shift, alternating every month. 4 weeks?
No.
5 weeks?
It's kind of 2 weeks, 2 to 3 weeks.
Okay, well, 2 or 3 weeks. That's what I said.
Really, it's every other week.
Every other week. That's what I basically said when I said what I said.
But not really. It's 2 weeks of days, 1 week of nights is kind of how it works out.
So I know that's whatever you were saying for you. So I know that this is a political podcast. So I'm just going to jump right into it. So this past about 8 days ago, Trump's home in Mar-a-Lago was raided, and I know both of you have strong opinions on Trump, and I just want to hear you weigh in on this and what's going on, because as I remind you, this is a political podcast where we kind of talk about what's going on and kind of look at it through a pretty impartial lens.
Yeah, Alex has a text in. Why don't you go ahead?
Yeah, I can go ahead here. I think I am a little worried about his production this year. He's got fewer weapons to choose from. Obviously, they traded away his wide receiver number 1. So he's going to be, I just think as a product of the system, he's going to be less effective in what he tries to do with this event at Mar-a-Lago. Now, I still think he has the skills to do it himself. Obviously, his leadership style has been called into question by his teammates. It's something that rubs some people the wrong way. But there are some that are really impassioned by his leadership style. So we'll have to see if the team gels with that. He's obviously the most important player on his team. So And if his team isn't doing that well, that has a tendency to bring down his own personal performance. So I'm a little worried. I may not take him. If I were in the upper or middle parts of the draft, I probably would hold off on selecting him. But if I were towards the back and sort of could combo him with another potent weapon, then I might do so. So I'm a soft buy at this point, but I think he's trending downwards, but we'll kind of have to wait and see how it plays out through the season. Daniel, what do you think?
Yeah, thanks, Alex. Thanks for the report. I don't trust the management. It's the roster construction for the management that really rubs you the wrong way. I just don't know if they put him in the right position to succeed. And you kind of mentioned just everything else around him was just kind of falling apart. So, yeah, yeah, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. No, I was going to say, I wonder how much of that is his own doing. We say it's the system around him, but, did he cause some friction with his receiver? His running back was not, felt like they weren't giving him enough touches. So I'm kind of just echoing your point there.
Or is there a danger of playing time, concerns? Is that something that's kind of bugging, might be bothering you a bit about that, or? All right, good. We lost Alex.
Yeah, your audio cut out, Alex.
All right, Tanner, go ahead.
Well,
Tanner, what do you think?
Of course, playing time is a big deal, and there's no doubt that this will have.
Hey, you guys, welcome to the podcast with me and somebody else. Sorry about that. Yeah, I got a call. Oh wow. Oh man. Okay, this is just like Donald Trump's team. That's yeah.
Hey, can you guys hear me? I'm back. I told you the transition might not be smooth.
Oh, that's okay.
And is it? Do I sound good?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, excellent.
Where were we, guys? I'm sorry. I had to.
How will that affect playing time? But I want to bring this back to the issue at hand. Is what Deshaun Watson did okay from a morality standpoint? And how? Sorry, he's taking snaps in the preseason now.
He is. He is.
Tell me about that, because I honestly don't really care about NFL.
Go ahead, Alex.
That's all you do.
Man, I wasn't. Was this in the show notes? Sorry, I need these.
Yes.
Well, I guess someone's got to play devil's advocate, and seeing as I don't want a soundbite of my voice being taken out of context, Daniel.
Yeah, Daniel, soundbite yourself.
All right, I'll start us off. I'll start us off then. Okay. I think the best way to approach it is obviously you start in the produce section, right? You have to start in the produce because that's just what kind of hits you immediately. I know the bakery items are kind of alluring, right? You smell them from far away, but you can't get distracted by that. And sticking to your list, that's very important. We don't want to do, overspending is a concern, for pretty much everyone, I would think. So you kind of start there, and then obviously, the market, they always put the dairy in the back, right? That's because they know you're going to go there. So you got to keep that in focus as you're getting your meats or vegetables or whatever else on your way there. And then obviously you can't get distracted by the stuff in the middle of the aisles. Alex, back to you.
Yeah, no, I think that's a good point, and I think where Deshaun Watson went wrong here is he spent too much time in the snack aisle. He really should be focusing more on developing his game, and we can liken that to buying a dozen and a half eggs rather than just a dozen eggs. Performing well on the dairy front, I think that is important, Daniel. But all that to say, I think he was hanging out. He was looking at the Chips Ahoy. He was looking at the Cheez-Its. He was looking at not the name brand, the store brand snacks. He was looking at the the Yum brands or whatever, like those Unilever type, those brands, those types of snacks. He was looking at those, and I think you can't be doing that when you're on that errand. You have to keep your head in the game, and also it's a disservice to yourself to spend too much time in the snack aisle.
And and this is where I fundamentally disagree with you, Alex. You liken Deshaun in his performance to, I don't know, skipping out on snacks or perhaps selecting a different brand than what he should, but I'd like it more to harassing the shoppers within the store, right?
Honestly, I'm gonna stop you right there and then let you continue. Yeah. I just want to say I like where you're going with this. Please.
Well, no, that's literally it. That's all I wanted to say. I just have to differ with you on that one. I know we meet in the middle because remember, this is a political podcast and it's all about finding a lot of common ground between, the different sides of the political spectrum. That being Alex Bohr and Tanner Debates. I'm joking. That was a joke. Okay, the bit's over. I'm sorry, guys.
Well, I mean, Deshaun Watson sucks. And if you don't care about the NFL, that's fine. But if you start caring about the NFL, don't root for the Browns. That's all I gotta say.
Thank you for your update. What are you guys thinking about the Falcons preseason? Because this is actually a sports podcast. We do love to talk about Atlanta sports.
We can definitely hear the drums now.
Seriously? What about now? Okay. How about now?
We'll do a high pass filter or reduce the lows in the mix.
Yeah.
Throw it in Audacity. It'll be fine.
Yeah, I'll just throw
it. You guys see the preseason win over the Lions a couple days ago?
I'm gonna get on the soapbox here and it's not a soap. I don't care about preseason at all. I didn't see it. I'm sorry.
Wow. You don't care.
Guys, we're on game 132 of 162 of the MLB. I think you guys should know that. You should know the exact date that we're on for that. So that's
wait. So we're getting close.
I mean, I don't know if we're a month away, but it's probably
a month and a half. It's about a month and a half.
Yeah.
Anyway, since we
Braves
are
doing really well.
Podcast,
and a sports podcast, we're a political sports podcast. We kind of hit each area of we're a locker. No, we're a water cooler type podcast. Water cooler chat podcast.
Yeah.
I think it's the best way to describe it in one word.
So we're going to launch into meteorology here soon, but getting back to the political slant of our show, what do you guys think of Manchester United dropping the first two games in an ignominious fashion last weekend? Pretty brutal stuff.
Yeah, as an avid soccer watcher, I think, or football, Daniel will fill you in. What are you thinking?
Alex, I think what Tanner is saying is he wants you to talk about it.
Yeah. So, I mean, obviously I'm not as plugged into the football sphere, the soccer sphere as maybe Daniel, who I know is very heavily invested in Manchester United, as well as the English Premier League. So I think he's going to really carry more weight in what he has to say. So I'm gonna have to just defect to what he wants to say, and I just want to hear that.
Yeah, I'll pass on.
Okay.
Thanks, Daniel.
I think it's an effect of increased alt-right extremism within the United States. That's all I'll say.
Oh, definitely. If there's one thing we can agree on.
Yeah, Manchester United. Yeah. That concludes the sports politics segment, I think. Daniel, I know you have your special bit here that you like to introduce at this point in the show about the 18-minute mark. Because that number has some special significance for you, doesn't it?
Well, I do. I don't want to bury the lead. So last time when we had Tanner on, Alex, you weren't here. Or maybe you should have been, because Tanner talked about his infamous second date.
Yeah. Is that what this podcast is about?
I don't know.
Wait, okay. I thought I told you how the second date went.
You didn't.
I didn't?
No.
Okay, well, I told you there was one. We went to the new Hattie B's location.
Yeah.
And then walked over to the Painted Duck. It's just right over there. Did you know about that new Hattie B's, Daniel?
Yeah, no, you told us about the podcast was right before the second date.
Okay. Well, I told you we were going to Hattie B's, and I told you there's a new Hattie B's, right?
Yes, that's what I'm saying. We covered this, but the result.
Oh, you know, sorry, I adjusted the thing. You know, I don't know which philosopher said it, but some philosopher said, "Man, life is crazy, right? It's full of ups and downs." Someone said it. I'm sure. And you know, things happen, right? Like, I think that's kind of the core message I'm trying to get across is life has its ups and downs. It has its unpredictable and maybe slightly more predictable events, but at the end of the day, it's life, right? It's a culmination of all those things, and I think, you know, that's your answer, I think, Daniel.
That was a pretty good reading of a 11th grader who had an excuse for not turning in their writing assignment. That's what that sounded like.
No, it was an okay day. I think bowling is an awkward medium for conversation because it's like, who sits, who's. Also, we're a dating podcast now, I guess, like dating advice.
Yeah.
So,
yeah,
okay. Or relationship advice podcast. So.
I will say there are a number of people invested in your relationship.
Actually, have people been writing in?
People have been writing in, yeah.
I took everything out of the SP 500 and put it into the Tanner's dating life, so I'm pretty heavily invested, you could say.
Yeah.
All right, so I need specifics. Daniel, you said there's a number of people interested. What is that number?
I can't get into that for privacy reasons.
Obviously. Okay, well, can you give me a ballpark?
One of the people did just mention themselves. Alex, who did say he went to Vegas and put a lot of stuff down on it. So.
Oh, what? A third date happening?
No. You're too limited in scope. I'm just invested in the overall business model you're running, not that particular venture.
Yeah.
It's a parent company, not the. Since we are a dating podcast, let's talk about the ick.
Yes, Daniel, what gives you the ick?
A pass. Do it.
Okay, well, think about that question. We'll come back to it.
Yeah, you could get back to me.
We'll circle back. Oh, that sounded promising. I think you might be doing some research.
So, Alex, what gives you the ick?
Man, folks, I gotta say I've been pressed about this before, and I've never been able to give a really a nice laundry list of things. Like if it were to happen to me, I'm sure I could point it out and be like, "Oh yeah, that's pretty scary." I'm gonna have to go with, because this one's easy, and I think some people can relate to this. I'm sure it will inflame some of you, but I think I have a soft ick with Disney people.
Yeah.
I think I would be if not in the majority, a sizable minority of that. And I'm not talking people who enjoy Disney. I mean, I got to confess, I'm going to go into my personal life here a little bit. Tanner and I spent some time in person together recently. And it was not just us two, but a group of friends, and we did engage in the vocal performance amongst ourselves of Disney princess songs. Most of the people my age would be familiar with them. So all that to say, I'm not anti-Disney, and I'm certainly not against anyone who is like pro-Disney. It's fine. You can go to Disney World Land every once in a while. It's a fun place to be. I'm not going against that. Disney people, though, is a sort of augmented version of those people. Tanner, if you know what I'm talking about, why don't you help
Disney adults. I think the term is Disney adults.
That's right. Yeah, Disney adults.
Right.
Yeah.
People are a little bit too into the Disney sphere. Multiple trips to Disneyland / Disney World. They got a Mickey Mouse tattoo. they want to get proposed to or get pregnant at Disney World / Disneyland. Have you heard about that? Like trying to if you give birth, I think at one of the parks, there's an urban legend that your kid gets free admission to that park for the rest of their life. You guys hear about that?
Yeah, I
to
did.
stop people from giving birth in like the parks.
Yeah. No, I guess that doesn't surprise me.
So I guess that'd be an ick, is like believing in an urban legend so much so that you want to, fucking shit out a baby at Disney World. Like, what the fuck? Like that. There's got to be some level of not delusion, but like there's a couple not thoughts, but roadblockers that you actively have to kind of think through and pass in order to give birth, in a fucking bathroom at Disney World, right?
So
like there's a lot of.
Are we talking Disney people as a whole, or the specific subset of those?
Oh, this is like Disney. This is like Disney squared people.
Are those
like extreme
Disney adults? I'm sorry.
No, because I don't think most Disney adults want to,
okay,
give birth in a toiletry, right, or a toilet, right? Or a toilet stall. That's what I'm trying to say. Right, I don't think most people want to do that, but I think most Disney adults probably want their kids to go to Disney World or Disneyland, and so I guess this is a more of a extremist Disney adult is what I'm describing. But they had to shut it down, or they had to call people ambulances and be like, get out of our park, please don't give birth. That's weird. That is really weird. Could you imagine?
Yeah, I wouldn't want to partake in that. I think you're conflating. I think you're going.
No, 100%.
Something you said about the adults and like wanting to take their kids to Disneyland. That's like super normal. I think Disneyland for parents is like an easy vacation. Well, I don't know about easy, but like you don't have to think too hard when you plan it. It's like, okay, go here. I've never taken my non-existent child, so for all you parents in the chat who've taken your kids to Disney World, I'm sorry if it actually is a really challenging endeavor, but I don't think that that's not weird. But yeah, I think being too into Disney where it's just not my thing. I guess it's fine, but yeah, that would give me a pretty soft ick. Maybe going up to like a solid one. Daniel, I'm curious, did that jog your memory of any icks you have or make you thinking?
No.
Really? Well, you're supposed to be thinking this entire time, so I'll stall while you can think. And by the end of, when I give kind of my ick, I'm expecting something from you, or I will leave the podcast. At this point, I'm threatening to get a response out of Daniel or Alex. We both walk. Let's like, Daniel, if you don't give a response when I'm done talking about, I guess my I'll leave. Okay? If you say
I really don't have anything though.
Okay, then think. You better get thinking.
You want me to make one up?
Well, you can make one up.
Well, you could.
Yeah.
So I mean, I didn't draw from a legitimate past experience of like, oh, I definitely dated somebody that had this. But I think a good resource to draw from is some past relationships, or even like not even like relationships, but if you dated someone for a little while. I think
like crushes, yeah.
And none of us are girls, and I think girls are a wealth of information when it comes to this stuff.
I can give mine and stall for Daniel. Well, this one was kind of just yes. Sorry, Alex. What?
No, I just like Daniel. Do you have anything at this moment?
Yeah, at this moment. Go ahead.
No.
All right. Let me stall.
All right.
I don't really get
Keep thinking. Just keep it to yourself. Just rest up. I'll stall for 2 minutes.
So the way I kind of think about it, it's also like there's like a couple phrases. The feather that broke the bed, I've heard. It's like, it's not this one thing just completely ruins it for you, but there's this culmination of, they're all right. And then they do this one thing that just the whole thing collapses. So it's not this one thing in itself has to be the sole reason. It's just like, okay, well, that did it for me. The cherry on top, if you will.
All right, Tanner, go ahead.
Okay, well, I mean, this is not inspired by anything, but just like, I don't know, being rude to people that are not you, I guess. You know, I think that goes both ways. It's like, if he or she is nice to everyone but you, then that's a big red flag. Right? It's like, why are they're treating you special? Why are they doing that? You know, it's kind of a weird red flag. I guess my ick in general is maybe like, not weird, not tone deaf, but just off kilter. I don't know what that word off kilter means, but off kilter behaviors or responses to certain things, or like, not, it's not the opposite of well adjusted, like maladjusted, but it's like a little bit under adjusted, right? Think of a spectrum between, you know, well adjusted and maladjusted. It's a little bit under adjusted, which is at the halfway mark, right? Does that make sense? So like responses, like, yeah.
You're gonna need to get some solid examples.
Okay. So I told Alex this. I think I told you, Daniel. You know, one of the dates I went on. You know, she kind of had some weird reactions, and I don't know, just like she sent a message kind of out of the blue, like, what's the worst date you've ever been on? Like, that's just not something you say after a date unless you're trying to get at something. And like, it was just, I don't know, it rubs you the wrong way. I think so. There's certain things like that just will rub you the wrong way if they're not adhering to like some kind of, I don't know,
like conversational norms.
Yeah, exactly.
I still need one more example to really have the point driven home.
Okay, so also on this date, and it kind of had been brought up that I was, you know, previously unemployed, and like, but you know, I was finding a job, or had found one, I think, already, and it was really weird because she then went and paid for my lunch, and it wasn't like I couldn't pay for it, but it was just like, that was her reason for paying for it, that I you know, oh no, you don't have a job, don't worry about it. Which is definitely nice, but it's like, once again, I guess it breaks the social norms where either, you know, I guess split checks or the guy pays for everything, right? That's kind of the societal norm or whatever. But it was just like, and I know that's a very, very petty thing, right? Free lunch, but like,
let me stop you right there and actually make a point that I think we've kind of been getting wrong. I think Icks are inherently petty, and that's what separates them from like legitimate red flags, to use another buzzword. So I think the fact that it's petty makes it even more more ickish.
Okay. Do you think those are icks, or is that like?
I think what you just described could definitely count as one. I think what was the being rude to people one? I think that's
a red flag. Yeah,
that's more of just like large red. Ick would be something like, Daniel, if you go on a third date with the girl and she's wearing like blue lipstick or something, and it's a turnoff, and you're like, you just mentally check out. Like that's the kind of, that's probably pretty extreme, but honestly not too much. Like that's the kind of severity we're talking about here, you know. And it could be more significant than that and like less petty than that, but it can get up to that level. So if there's something like that, that's what we're talking about here, I think. But Tanner, I enjoyed you sharing those. I think that's a wonderful insight into what makes you tick on the dating scene, which I'm heavily invested in. So
yes.
Please, I need to see the financials as well. You guys have an earnings report soon?
No, 100%. We're going to file our.
Doesn't she not have a job though too?
At that point, she like hadn't started, but like I had, you know, money saved up from my previous company. Like I was fine financially. Like I told her this. It was just like weird that she insisted.
But like I said, she didn't have a job.
Yeah. So I don't see. It was like
it's a weird.
See, I told you it was just weird, right? Like it wasn't bad or
a little
terrible.
off kilter.
Off kilter, I guess. Right? Am I crazy that was like just weird? Right?
I see where
it's like a weird jump, to assume that I can't pay for lunch when it's like I'm fine,
Well, thank you for sharing, Tanner. That was a nice insight there.
And yeah, we'll have what's the SEC filing? What is the technical term? The 21K or something like that?
What are you talking about?
11K, an 8K, right? Isn't that if you're
we're talking about quarterly earnings reports.
Yeah. So
in this case, specifically for Tanner's dating life, that I am actually invested in.
Yeah, so it's a SEC filing is an 8K, Form 8K. So, just wait for, you're going to have to wait for us to file it completely, and then you'll get your update.
Cool. Yeah. Thanks. Looking forward to what you guys have got going.
But no, business is booming. As I said, only, I think, SEC regulated companies, which are like Fortune 500 and above companies have to file or something, right? I'm not sure how it works. I'm speaking out of my ass here.
Yeah, I would agree with that last phrase.
Yeah. So let's shift gears. If you're a publicly traded company, you have to file an 8K. We'll shift gears because we are, as I remind everyone, a crypto/sport/relationship podcast. So we're going to shift to talking about investment strategies. And I know Daniel's been doing a lot of investments behind the scenes. He's seen some dividends so far, and I think you want to share kind of what this next week is going to look like, right? Do you have any? You've been nose to the ground trying to sniff up some leads, right?
Yeah. He's our truffle pig.
Our stock truffle pig. Are there any little penny stocks we need to get into now to maximize returns in the future?
Yeah, I would say the best way to get involved here is you probably want to start by restarting your computer. That's usually the first way to go about is restarting the computer.
Yeah. And what if my Bitcoin wallet is connected to my hard drive? What if it's not a virtual Bitcoin wallet? What if it's a hard wallet? Hardware wallet. You
always want to turn it off and turn it back on again.
What if I accidentally messed with the prongs on my hardware wallet USB stick? Like, what if it doesn't plug into a computer anymore?
Are you chewing on wiring again?
Do I sound weird?
No, I just meant.
Oh, okay.
We're still in the bed.
It's it's like a.
Don't breathe the fourth wall.
Oral fixation kind of thing. Like I gotta chew on a USB stick. Nom nom nom. Like Bugs Bunny and a stick of carrot, right? Like, what's up, Doc? You investing in Goldman Sachs? Right? I'm a little investor, Bugs Bunny. I got 4 USB sticks. Just gnarled up right here. You can hear them in my hand here.
We can definitely hear the drums.
Here's my. Can you hear them?
Yeah, I can hear your.
Okay, I'm just curious to see what the microphone can pick up.
I hear something. Yeah.
Okay, that's excellent. So I really think we're making ground here. I know that the kind of meme stock that's in is BBBY, and they've been tracking really well. Bed Bath & Beyond is the meme stock that's like up a lot because memes. It's like, wow. Yeah, wow. So a month ago, it was a little bit less than $5. Now it's up 20 to 20, a little bit over $20. So it's one of those meme stocks. Should I open my Robinhood? I remember doing a bunch of penny stocks when it was meme potential. And I don't think I've opened it since because I lost a lot of money. And I'm really embarrassed. And I can't log back into my Robinhood, so I invested
Can you afford lunch? Are you okay?
I can. Okay, I invested in Naked Brand stock. Let's see. NAKD. How's it doing? Well, I don't know. Did they go out of business? Oh, wow. How's it? Sank below the $1. Wow. Okay. So I don't know if the company's going to recover. So I, made some not so sound financial decisions. We're learning, we're adapting, and I think that's kind of the spirit of this podcast. And I think at this point we've kind of rounded the bases, so to speak, of generic podcast not locker room, but water cooler chat. So thank you guys so much for listening. If you've made it this far in the podcast, God bless you. That's an impressive testament. So just, leave an audio comment if you made it to this far in the podcast, because honestly, I'll respond to it. I will respond to your audio comment with another audio comment. So thank you so much for listening. We are the Experience Podcast. I am, of course, not your host. I'm just a random person that Daniel picked off the street. Daniel is your host. Alex produced and wrote and edited this episode. So if everything sounds really weird and is not edited very well, it's his fault.
Don't put the writing of this episode on me, please.
We, of course, are sponsored by Silverstone Media Company, and also, which is a subsidiary of Disney. And so we'd like to thank our corporate sponsors there.
I retract my comments from earlier.
And thank you so much for listening.
Daniel, do you run data analytics on your podcast? Maybe things like.
Are you stopping the podcast, Daniel?
Real quick. Topics covered. Now we're running it